Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. The Forbidden Rituals of the Derelict Subway Station. The first time the city sealed off Briar Line Station, it was because of the sinkhole. The second time, it was because of the disappearances. The third time, no one ever said why. And yet, despite the metal shutters welded over every entrance, despite the thick tarps and rusting fences and do not enter signs slapped onto every surface, rumors insisted the station was never truly empty. Those who lived closest to the abandoned line swore they heard distant chanting echoing up through storm drains late at night. Stray dogs refused to go near the old stairwells. Teenagers dared each other to slip past the fences, and sometimes, one wouldn't come back. Still, none of that stopped Nathan Caldwell. He had the kind of obsession that unraveled people from the inside, thread by thread. For years he'd hunted urban myths, legends, disappearances. He'd filmed trespass explorations that had earned him mild fame online, but his channel views had begun to dip. Excitement faded. The audience wanted something darker now, something real. And Briar Line Station, the most forbidden station in the entire city, was the perfect place to find it. Nathan stepped through the narrow tear he'd cut in the tarp, the beam of his flashlight slicing through the stale night air. The street behind him was empty, the city was asleep. The wind tugged softly at the chain-link fencing, rattling it like bones in a metal cage. "This is it," he whispered into the camera clipped to his jacket. The Briar Line Station. No one stepped foot in here for decades. People say the city condemned it, but the real reason is much worse. He inhaled slowly. And tonight, we're going to see why. He slipped into the darkness. The air changed immediately, colder, heavier, carrying the faint odor of damp earth and something else beneath it, something metallic. Rust, maybe. Or blood. He couldn't be sure. His boots crunched over shattered glass and gravel as he descended the concrete stairwell choked with shadows. His flashlight flickered once, twice. "Not now," he muttered, tapping the side. It steadied, but only barely. A low hum filled the air. It wasn't mechanical. No electrical systems should have been active down here, but something softer, almost like breath. A current of air that didn't come from above or below or anywhere identifiable. Nathan paused. The hair on his arms prickled. "Did you hear that?" he whispered to the camera. It almost sounded like a whisper slid across the stairwell. Something distant, yet right beside him. "Turn back." Nathan froze. The air grew colder. The darkness pressed in, thicker now, as if the shadows had weight. He swallowed hard. "It's just the acoustics," he whispered, forcing a shaky laugh. "Old tunnels cause weird echoes. That's all." He took another step, but a part of him already knew it wasn't acoustics. When he reached the bottom of the stairs, he was met with a blast of stale, frigid air. The station platform stretched ahead like a cavern. The walls were stained with mold and graffiti, the tiles shattered, the rails long since rusted. No lights worked. No signs remained intact. But what struck him most, what made his stomach twist into a cold knot, was the silence. There weren't even rats. He panned his flashlight across the space. Dust swirled in its beam. The faintest remnants of old posters clung to the walls. A torn glove lay abandoned near the bench. He lifted the camera. This station closed in 1987. The city claimed structural damage, but leaked reports show something else entirely. Something about unauthorized construction, an unregistered third level, and the audio glitched sharply in his earpiece. Nathan tensed and tapped the microphone. Suddenly, overlapping voices spilled through his headphones, dozens whispering in static. The third level, not meant for the living, blood opened the path, turn back. He ripped the earpiece out. "Nope," he said through clenched teeth. "Nope. That's interference. Probably leftover power lines, or..." He trailed off. His voice didn't convince even himself. He steadied his breathing and kept walking. The deeper he moved into the station, the heavier the atmosphere became. It pressed on his chest, thick as drowning water. His flashlight flickered again, illuminating grains of dust suspended in the air like tiny floating embers. Then the temperature dropped again. Hard. A shiver crept up Nathan's spine. He aimed the camera toward the far end of the platform, where a shadow pooled unnaturally at the mouth of a maintenance tunnel. The darkness there looked different, deeper, almost viscous. His breath fogged in the air. What the hell? He stepped forward, boots scraping against debris. The closer he moved to the tunnel, the more the air seemed to hum, a low vibration that rattled the metal tracks beneath his feet. Something was there, something waiting. He raised his flashlight and froze. Symbols covered the walls of the tunnel entrance. Jagged spirals, interlocking shapes, lines drawn in patterns that made his eyes ache to look at them. They were carved deep into the concrete, as though something had etched them with claws instead of tools. And they were fresh. Nathan's heart pounded. Someone's been down here, he whispered. Recently. He reached out and touched one of the carvings. The wall pulsed beneath his fingertips. Faint, but unmistakable. He jerked his hand away. Behind him, somewhere deep in the dark of the platform, a single metallic sound echoed. Like a train far, far down the tunnel. But that was impossible. The Briar Line had been disconnected from the rest of the subway network. There was no power, no rails leading anywhere, no train in decades. Nathan's blood ran cold. He turned back toward the platform and saw a faint glow in the distance. It was dim at first, a soft flickering like candlelight, coming from behind one of the old maintenance doors near the center of the station. The door itself was rusted, the paint peeling. On its surface, more symbols had been drawn, these not carved, but smeared with something dark. The glow brightened, casting long, warped shadows across the station. Nathan lifted his camera. His hand shook. There it is, he whispered. The rumors, the rituals, they're real. Another whisper drifted through the air like cold breath on his neck. You should not have come. Nathan nearly stumbled. He forced himself toward the door. The closer he got, the clearer the sound became, low chanting. Dozens of voices, rhythmic, ritualistic, rising and falling like waves inside a cavern. The glow flickered with each pulse of their voices. His heart thundered in his ears. His breath grew shallow. He reached the door. He placed his hand on the handle. The chanting stopped. Every voice silenced at once. Nathan stood frozen, wide-eyed, heart slamming against his ribs. He tried to breathe, but the air seemed to thicken, refusing to enter his lungs. Slowly, the door handle turned beneath his hand, not by his doing. Something on the other side was opening it. Nathan stepped back instinctively as the old door groaned open. The glow spilled out, blindingly bright. A silhouette stood in the doorway. Tall, crooked, limbs too long. Its head bowed, its body shrouded in symbols carved directly into its skin like deep red wounds. Nathan gasped and stumbled backward. The thing lifted its head. Its face wasn't a face at all. Just a smooth expanse of skin carved with the same spiraling symbols that covered the walls. It reached a hand toward him. Nathan Caldwell, it rasped, its voice like rust scraping metal. He choked on terror. How do you know my name? The creature stepped forward. Behind it, dozens of robed figures kneeled in a circle, heads lowered, palms raised. Their chanting resumed, louder than before, echoing through the station like 1,000 insects screaming in unison. Nathan backed up until he hit a pillar. The creature's voice slithered across the air. You came seeking the forbidden. Nathan shook his head desperately. I didn't know, I just wanted footage, I wasn't going to. You will join us, the creature whispered. Its shadow stretched across the floor, growing impossibly long. The ritual has begun. Nathan turned to run, but the shadows moved faster. They swallowed him whole. Nathan hit the ground hard. His flashlight skittered across the tiles, spinning wildly until it clattered against the rusted railbed and went dark. The camera pinned to his jacket flickered with static. His lungs heaved for air that refused to fill them, as though the darkness itself pressed inside his chest. The chanting grew louder. He pushed himself upright, shakily, his vision blurring in and out of focus. The creature stood framed in the doorway of the maintenance room, its silhouette writhing subtly, as if dozens of thin, twitching shapes moved just beneath its skin. Behind it, the robed figures continued their synchronized bowing, their voices forming an unbroken river of words Nathan couldn't understand. The language sounded ancient, guttural, like the grinding of stone deep beneath the earth. "You cannot run," the creature said. Its voice was layered, multiple tones stacked atop one another, even though it clearly had no mouth with which to speak. Something in Nathan's mind began to fray. He lurched to the side, nearly tripping over a cracked tile. His legs felt wrong, heavy, stiff, as if his joints weren't bending correctly. Panic surged through him. "I'm not a part of this," he shouted. I didn't. "You entered the sealed station," the creature crooned. "You witnessed the markings. You touched the gateway. You accepted the invitation. I didn't invite anything." Nathan sputtered. The creature tilted its head, the gesture sharp and inhuman. "Intent is irrelevant. Presence is acceptance." Nathan bolted. Adrenaline surged through his limbs, punching through the fog of terror long enough for him to sprint across the platform. His boots slapped the tiles as he barreled toward the old stairwell, eyes locked on the faint rectangle of darkness that would lead him back to the world above. Behind him, the chanting erupted into feverish intensity. The creature's footsteps began, too many joints, too many limbs, the clicking of bone echoing across the station walls. Nathan didn't look back. He reached the bottom of the stairwell. A wave of cold air hit him so strongly he stumbled backward. The darkness above him shifted, warped, like someone draped a sheet of ink over the exit. And then it moved. The shadows congealed into a solid shape, sealing the way out. A living curtain of darkness rippled across the stairs, humming with a strange, pulsing rhythm. Nathan slowed, confused and terrified. It wasn't a wall. It was a veil. Beyond it, he saw the street-level lights distort and twist as though seen through a pool of black water. "No," he whispered. His hands shook violently. He reached out and touched the veil. Searing pain shot up his arm. He screamed and yanked his hand back. The skin where he touched the veil was blistered, angry red lines shaped like the same spiraling symbols carved into the tunnel walls. He staggered away from the staircase. The station had no exit. He spun around just as the creature reached the base of the stairs. Its elongated fingers touched the floor tiles, leaving trails of black residue that oozed like liquid shadows. "Escape is no longer possible," it whispered. "You crossed the threshold. Now you must take your place." "Take my place where?" Nathan choked. The creature pointed a long, shaking finger toward the maintenance door. Toward the robed figures. Toward the ritual. "No," Nathan said, backing away. "No, no, no." But the creature simply beckoned. Behind it, the chanting shifted again, becoming softer, almost soothing. Like a lullaby hummed from the bottom of a well. Nathan's head grew light. His thoughts started slipping apart. Something was affecting him. The air, the symbols, the chanting, all of it. His legs buckled. He caught himself on a rusting bench, gripping until his knuckles whitened. His heart pounded, but his heartbeat felt wrong. Like it was syncing with something else. Aligning with the rhythm of the chanting. The creature's shadow stretched toward him like a dark tendril. "Come," it whispered. "Your voice is needed." Nathan shook his head frantically. I won't join your ritual. It is not a ritual, the creature said as it stepped closer. It is a restoration. He swallowed hard. Restoration of what? The creature leaned in, its faceless head inches from his own. Of the order that was broken. Nathan's breath froze. What order? He whispered. The creature answered with a whispering choir of voices. The order that breathes beneath the city. The order older than steel. Older than stone. Nathan tried to stand but his legs wouldn't obey. He clawed at the bench and pulled himself up, swaying. The creature raised a hand. Its fingers spread wide, and the chanting behind it stopped. Everything fell silent. Then, in perfect unison, the kneeling figures lifted their heads. Their hoods fell back. Nathan screamed. Their faces were gone. Not torn off, simply missing, replaced by smooth surfaces like blank clay stretched over skulls. Carved into their faces were the same symbols etched into the walls and carved into the creature's skin. Each symbol glowed faintly red. One figure raised a hand toward Nathan. Another extended a knife, stone, crude, ancient. Nathan stumbled back. My God! The creature straightened, towering. Your arrival completes the circle, it said. What circle? He choked. The creature stepped aside. Behind it, drawn on the floor of the chamber in thick black strokes spanning more than 20 feet across, was a massive ritual circle. Intricate patterns spiraling outward from a center point. Symbols arranged with geometric precision too perfect for human hands. And at the center, something shifted beneath a canvas tarp. Something, breathing. Nathan's stomach twisted violently. No, he whispered. No, no, what is that? The creature extended its arms. It is the hunger that sleeps under the city. The ancient root of this place. The pulse beneath the concrete. We are the caretakers. We keep the hunger fed. We keep the city safe. Safe? Nathan cried. By doing this? The creature tilted its head. Yes. Sacrifice keeps the ground stable. Blood quiets the hunger. Without it, the city would collapse into the mouth of the sleeping one. Nathan's skin crawled. The ground trembled. Low, rhythmic vibrations pulsed up through the tiles, the same rhythm as the chanting. The creature stepped closer until its blank, symbol-carved face filled Nathan's vision. You will be the final sacrifice of this cycle, it murmured. The circle will be complete once more. Nathan's pulse hammered in terror. No, he whispered. I won't let you. You already have, the creature replied. And then the tarp in the center of the ritual circle shifted again. More violently this time. Something beneath it pressed upward. A shape, a limb, a mouth. Nathan screamed, and the chanting resumed. Detective Mara Kessler's pulse hammered in her throat as she pushed deeper into the blackened service tunnel. The chanting ahead had shifted again, growing louder, rolling in layered waves that made her skin prickle. It didn't sound human now. It had taken on a strange oscillation, like multiple throats were vibrating in sync. A sour metallic smell thickened the air. Her flashlight flickered once, twice, then settled into a weak trembling beam. The tunnel dipped downward, the incline steep enough that she felt her boots slipping over gravel and old track bolts. The walls here were carved with grooves, deep parallel scratches running in columns from ceiling to floor. They looked deliberate yet frantic, like something had clawed its way downward into the earth. Her radio crackled at her hip, a burst of static erupting for a full second before cutting out. She froze. Then a voice whispered through the interference. Mara. Her breath froze. Dispatch, say again. Static. Mara. Male. Hoarse. Familiar. She swallowed. Marcus? Her brother's name tasted like a broken promise. Marcus had vanished 2 years earlier. Last seen descending stairs into this very station. Last words caught on CCTV. They're calling me. Mara gripped the radio. Marcus, if this is some kind of. The voice cut in again. You're close. And then the chanting surged, drowning all radio noise, a tidal wave of voices merging into one droning command. Come. Mara staggered forward, compelled by something she could not name, fear, desperation, or the magnetic pull of an answer she had chased for years. The tunnel widened into a massive chamber that should not have existed beneath the city. It was circular, its walls coated in layers of soot, ash, and symbols carved so deeply they looked like wounds. At the far end, a pit yawned open, a smooth black descent lit by dozens of candles arranged in a spiral pattern. And around the pit stood figures. Cloaked, hooded, motionless, their faces hidden behind masks shaped from bone fragments, welded into grotesque forms that resembled stretched skulls. Their hands were raised, palms outward, toward the pit. The chanting ceased. Silence fell so heavy it felt like pressure. Then one figure stepped forward and lowered his hood. Mara's heart seized. Marcus. He was thinner, eyes sunken, skin pale as a sheet of paper. But it was him. Alive. Breathing. His voice was calm. Too calm. You shouldn't have come, Mara. She shook her head, breath quivering. Marcus, what are you doing? What is this? The ritual, he said simply. The city is built on something old. Something hungry. Something bound. We're here to finish what others started, long before us. The masked figures murmured in approval, a soft rustling of agreement. Mara stepped forward, her instincts battling the sharp sting of grief. You were kidnapped. Forced. These people. No. Marcus smiled faintly. I joined willingly. Her chest tightened. He motioned toward the pit. She's almost awake. The one below. The sleeper. We perform the final rite tonight. He reached a hand toward her. And you're part of it. Mara backed away. No. Marcus, please, listen to me. You can come home. We can fix this. I can help you. His expression softened. I am home. The candles snuffed out simultaneously, plunging the chamber into total darkness. A groan rose from the pit, deep, earth-shaking, ancient. The sound of stone grinding against stone. Then a rush of cold, damp air burst upward, carrying the smell of wet soil and something rotten, something long buried. Mara aimed her flashlight at the pit. What she saw shattered her voice. Something enormous was shifting just below the lip of the abyss. A shape made of writhing shadows and countless hands pressing outward from beneath its surface. Faces, half-formed, screaming silently from the darkness that pulsed like a massive living lung. Marcus's voice was a whisper behind her. She answers the ritual. She accepts our offering. The mass surged upward, and the chamber trembled. Mara stumbled backward and fired her gun at the advancing shape. The bullets disappeared into nothing, swallowed by the darkness as if the creature were made of ink and void. The cloaked figures fell to their knees, chanting frantically now, their words sharp and desperate. Marcus grabbed Mara's wrist with a grip far too strong, almost inhuman. You were chosen the moment you followed me here. She calls for you. She tried to pull free, but his fingers tightened, digging into her skin. Mara screamed, twisting, and for a moment his grip loosened, just enough for her to break free and sprint toward the tunnel. Behind her, the creature clawed upward from the pit, its many hands slapping onto the stone floor, pulling its bulk into the chamber, releasing a sound that was not quite a howl, not quite a scream, something in between, something that vibrated marrow. The candles reignited in pale blue flame, and an arm, longer than any human limb, lashed out from the creature, snatching one of the masked followers and dragging him into the pit. His scream cut off instantly. Mara ran, every breath a knife scraping her lungs. But then, a voice echoed through the chamber. Mara. Marcus again. But this time, it was wrong. Layered. Multiple. A chorus using his throat. She looked back only once. Her brother was no longer fully human. His limbs stretched impossibly. His skin had taken on a shadowed sheen, like something beneath his flesh was pushing outward, reshaping him. He smiled with a mouth far too wide. You can't escape the chosen. Mara broke into a sprint, crashing back into the main tunnel, stumbling over debris. The chanting behind her rose again, louder now, and the walls vibrated as if something massive was crawling inside them. Her flashlight flickered violently, then died. Darkness swallowed her, and in the suffocating black, a whisper curled against her ear. Impossible to tell if it came from ahead, behind, or inside her own skull. The ritual isn't done. She screamed and ran blindly. But something grabbed her ankle. Cold fingers. Too many fingers. She hit the ground hard, chin snapping against concrete. She clawed frantically at the floor, dragging herself forward, but the grip tightened, pulling her backward toward the chamber. No, no, Marcus, please. A voice answered. Not Marcus. Not human. Welcome to the offering. The darkness surged around her, swallowing her whole. For more stories, like and subscribe.